Jai Shri Ram. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, there is an incident where a lizard happens to be found in a dry well. Krishna's sons and Yadavas are out on a holiday playing kabaddi or God knows all kinds of games. Suddenly the ball lands in a well, in a dry abandoned well. So they all go there to fetch the ball, and instead they see at the bottom of the well a huge lizard which is moaning and groaning and suffering. And it's so big that they can't pull it out. So they go and report the matter to Sri Krishna. So Sri Krishna comes, and with his left hand he lifts the reptile, huge reptile, very effortlessly. Krishna, after all, Krishna is Krishna, Swayam Bhagavan. So Krishna lifts this lizard out of the well and puts it on the ground. And the moment Krishna's hand touches the reptile, the reptile gets transformed into a deva, into a god, wearing all kinds of finery, silk and jewelry, and his face is radiating with light, dazzling. He has a dazzling crown, and he is about to go back to heaven. So before he goes, he expresses his thanks to Krishna, and Krishna says, "Okay, tell us your story." So he says, "Sir, you know everything. You are the Paramatma. But for the sake of the others, I will say what exactly happened with me." Actually, his name was Nriga, Nriga. Nriga. He happened to be a great king, and he used to do a lot of charity work and philanthropy. He was a great altruist. Once he donated 1,000 cows to a Brahmin. There was a big yajna and a lot of donation and all that. By mistake, one of the cows escaped from the lot, came back into the Gaushala. Now, out of the 1,000, one came back. So the Brahmin left with one less. And there were so many other cows. And the next Nriga donated some 1,000 cows to some other Brahmin. And this cow, which came back, went along with the new group of 1,000 to a different Brahmin. Now, after some time, the first Brahmin came back demanding his cow. He said, one of the cows came back, so please give me back my cow. So Nruga checked, and he realized after the investigation that this cow had been gifted away to another Brahmin. So he called the new Brahmin, the second fellow. And when he asked the second fellow to give back, that fellow said, "No, I love that cow, it is looking so wonderful." And the second fellow refused. So the king offered, "I'll give you 10,000 cows, man, come on, give that back to me, because I have to give it to this man because he's demanding that." That fellow said no. So finally the king could not take back this cow, which was now mistakenly, though it was already donated, in spite of it not being his mistake, the cow came back, and this man unintentionally, inadvertently redonated a cow that was already donated to a new person. Now, because of a mistake unwittingly done, he had to undergo a karmic suffering, which is very strange. For example, whether you like it or not, unwittingly, unintentionally, if you put your finger in fire, it will burn. So, ignorance of law is never an excuse in a courtroom. So you cannot go to a courtroom and say, "I didn't know that such a law exists." That's exactly why lawyers are there. You have to consult lawyers, and you have to get to know. It is your civic duty to know the law. So ignorance of law, ignorance of higher law, ignorance of dharmic laws, ignorance of karmic laws, all these things cannot be pardoned. It is your duty to know them. If you think you can get away by committing an act under the influence of sheer ignorance, then you are a big idiot. So Nriga explained what happened, and because of this karma, he had to enter into the life, into the body of a lizard. And it was, of course, a small punishment. And he lay trapped in a well without any food and drink, and he was dying. So he was now rescued, and Krishna's touch rendered the curse or the karmic repercussion nullified, and he received his kingly deva body. So that's what he said. So everyone understood. See, this is the lesson I think you also have understood. See, you have a duty to study the Bhagavad Gita, that is Rishi Yajna. Rishi Yajna or Brahma Yajna means studying the Bhagavad Gita. That is sufficient. So you don't have to study the Vedas, Upanishads, Shastras, so many, Anantakoti. There are so many Shastras. So Krishna also says, there are too many Shastras. Ananta Shastram Bahuvedittavyam Alpascha Kalam Bahavascha Vignaha Yatsara Bhutam Tadupasitavyam Hamso Yada Kshiramivama Mishram. So there are so many Shastras and we don't have time, and life is full of difficulties and obstacles. And so what you must do is try to quickly take the essence, like a swan. The swan is believed to be capable of separating milk from water in a mixture of milk and water. So we should be like a swan. That's what Krishna said in the Uttara Gita. So Ananta Shastram Bahuvedittavyam Alpascha Kalam Bahavascha Vignaha Yatsara Bhutam Tadupasitavyam Hamso Yada Kshiramivambu Mishram. So Krishna said, don't waste your time studying all the Vedas, Upanishads and all these Granthas. Just study the Bhagavad Gita and take the essence quickly. That much is called Rishi Yajna or Brahma Yajna. That means you are repaying with this act your gratitude. We are under debt because rishis sacrifice their lives to acquire this knowledge so that future generations like us will know how to live a good life. So that is why Rishi Yajna or Brahma Yajna, which is our minimum duty towards our rishis. So Krishna incidentally mentions that, you see, here the lesson Krishna also says is, if you rob a Brahmin of his wealth, you will have to be born as an insect eating shit for 60,000 janmas. So this is a clear warning. Do not loot or rob a Brahmin of his property. Please don't do that. First I will read that. Now of course, who is a Brahmin, that's a different debate. We will come to that later. Some people will get annoyed with me and they will say, hey, there are so many rascals who are also Brahmins, or many Brahmins are rascals. Yeah, every kulam good people are there, bad people are there. So that's not the point at all. Anyway, I'll come to that later. First I'll read the shloka. Swadattam paradattam va brahma vrittim harechayah pashti varsha sahasrani vishtayam jayate krumihi. Whether the Brahmin has been donated something or whether he acquired it by dint of hard work, that property of a Brahmin, if anybody loots, steals, then that person will have to be born as an insect eating human feces or shit, fecal matter, for 60,000 janmas, 50,000 rebirths, 60,000. Shashti. So this is what Krishna said. Now after Krishna has said that, there is no debate possible. So you better accept it. Now, who really is a Brahmin? That's an interesting debate. Is anyone born a Brahmin? Well, seriously, yes and no. See, a rose tree, or let us take the seed of many plants. A pumpkin seed is there, brinjal seed is there, coriander seed is there, a mango, the seed is there. So if you sow a seed, you already know that it's a mango and the tree will yield mangoes. So if you sow a coriander seed, you know that plant or herb will be a coriander plant, it will yield coriander. So does it make any sense that you have to sow a seed without knowing what it is, and after 20 years you will discover whether the seed is a Brahmin tree, Kshatriya tree, Vaishya tree or Shudra tree? No, that doesn't make sense. So the seed itself should carry the traits and qualities of the person likely to be born. That is why a person is born in a Brahmin kula. So based on your prarabdha, you will be born in a Brahmin family, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. Okay, and nowhere in the Shastras is it said that somebody is inferior or superior. The Purusha Suktam in the Vedas, all the Vedas has Purusha Suktam. So Brahmins are believed to have emanated from the face or from the mouth, Kshatriyas from the shoulders, Vaishyas from the thighs, Shudras from the feet. This is a metaphor. This is simply a metaphor. that the whole human society, in fact the whole of the universe, is nothing but the body of God. So the feet of God is what we touch when we go to a temple. We bow to the feet. So if some fool thinks that Shudras have been somehow demeaned, their value has been somehow denigrated, their worth has been lowered, and they have been demeaned because they are the feet of the Purushottama, then that idiot has no common sense. It is the feet that we bow to. And by the way, the feet are so important. Paramatma's feet are more important than Paramatma's head. That's why we are bowing to Paramatma's feet. And by the way, this is a metaphor. This is not that literally people have come out of the feet. Okay? So it is the description, a metaphorical description of a society. In any society, whatever society, American, Christian, Islamic, Buddhist, whatever religion they may follow, every society has this broad classification. The intellectual workers, the people who study, read, teach, consult, lawyers, and all these come under Brahmin. The professor, the doctor who has to do lot of reading and experimentation, these people come under Brahmin category. In America, in Switzerland, in China, in any country, there is a broad cross section of society who can be called Brahmins. This is what they do: reading, studying, teaching, advising, consulting. All these activities come under Brahmin category. Then Kshatriya are those who are physically strong. They can be soldiers, leaders, administrators, managers, all these people. These qualities are also, some people are born with them. All of us can acquire. That's a different thing. But that is the seed. So now, just because a seed is there doesn't mean that the mango, let us say you have a wonderful Banginipalli mango seed. But if it is sowed in the wrong environment, poor soil, no water, no care, then that Banginipalli mango will be a horrible mango to taste. So just because the seed is good doesn't mean it will yield the right kind of fruit. So there are so many things that have to fall into place. So if you are born in a Brahmin kulam, fine, good. That means you must have done in some past birth some activities which have predestined you to be born in a Brahmin kula. Remember, caste does not exist in Hinduism. Caste is a foreign Portuguese word which means class. In Hinduism, we have kula, jati, varna, gotra. All of them are extremely scientific. So just because somebody is born in a Brahmin kula doesn't mean that he is in any way superior. So it is all prarabdha. That means your past actions have predestined you. You have developed a proclivity, a propensity to be born in a particular kulam. You could be born in a Kshatriya class. And in India, roughly about 6,500 jatis are there. And kulas, God knows how many kulas are there. So Gotras means basically descent from a common male ancestor. All Hindus, all of us are descendants of rishis. Every Hindu is actually a descendant of a rishi. All of them, including the Shudra. So we are all equal in one sense, because we are all descendants of great rishis who can be called spiritual scientists. Okay, so there is no inferiority anywhere at all. But because of our guna karma, because of our gunas, that means psychological traits, and the kind of activities that we undertake, we take birth in a particular class. So Shudras are the people who build the temples, who do lot of physical labor, who serve all the other three classes in society, because they don't have the capacity or interest or passion to read books. They can't teach. But some of them do teach. That's also possible, because they have got a completely different environment. So all these things are possible. Nature is not so dogmatically insistent. See, that scope, that flexibility is always available. So somebody could be born in a Vaishya family, in which means he will be good at business, he will be good at logistics, supplies, distributing food, distributing amenities, and he is a Vaishya, Komati, Baniya. So there are certain traits. These Baniya traits are not found in Brahmins or Kshatriyas or Shudras. Shudra traits. Shudras are physically very strong. A Shudra's body is much more stronger than a Brahmin's body. And the Brahmin's work cannot be done by the Shudra, nor can the Shudra's work be done by the Brahmin. Very simple. Where is the question of discrimination? Yes, but casteism exists. Unfortunately, this casteism is nothing but an offshoot of our acceptance of Christianity and Islam, in which there is so much discrimination. Uh, because in these two religions, the infidel, infidel, means unbeliever. The unbeliever has to be proselytized, which means converted, or killed. Inquisition. Inquisition means a medieval tribunal to stamp out heresy. And Goa Inquisition took place where lakhs of Hindus were killed by the Goans. Those Portuguese, Vasco da Gama, the Saint Francis Xavier. He was not a saint, he was a criminal of Indian history. This man was responsible for the murder of lakhs and lakhs of Hindus who refused to get converted to Christianity. So all the Goan Christians are actually Hindus who were forced, threatened at the tip of the sword, and who found no other option, and therefore they got converted. Now if they are sensible enough and know Christianity and the history of Christianity, they should revert back to do Garvapsi and become Hindus. But for some strange reason they don't do that. So their forefathers were all Hindus. Now in both Islam and Christianity are extremely aggressively proselytizing religions. So they have this this concept of infidel and proselytization. Hinduism, we don't have such a thing at all. So now I completely lost track of what was the point I was trying to tell you. Okay, so we don't have such a thing. So we don't have any discrimination. This discrimination is endemic. It is systemic in both Christianity and Islam. In Islam there are 72 denominations, and according to the Holy Quran, 72 denominations, and everyone feels that the other denomination, the other 71 are kafirs, that means infidel, who deserve to be either converted or killed. So they are perpetually at war. The Sunnis don't accept Shias. The Sunnis think the Shias are kafir, and Shias say that Sunnis are kafir, and they are out to each other kill. That is throughout their history. That's what's happening, and even today it's happening all over the world. In Christianity there are 40,000 plus denominations or sect or tegalu, and each sect believes that the other fellow is an infidel. So either that fellow has to be converted or killed, and they don't go to each other's churches. This kind of a discrimination doesn't exist in Hinduism. So where is the question of discrimination? Now this kind of meaningless, irrational, hatred-filled discrimination is a concept we borrowed from these two religions, which never existed in Hinduism. But discrimination always exists in every society. Even today it exists. In future it will exist, because that is human nature. Human nature is such that we like to dominate. And so because of this tendency is so strong that we tend to discriminate. So this discrimination is a very bad, evil habit we should get over. Right? Islam and Christianity both have institutionalized slavery. Institutionalized means to establish as a custom. Their holy books, both Bible and Quran, support the concept of slavery. That means exploiting other human beings as your slave. Now we don't have in Hinduism such a concept of slavery at all, because we see Rama and Krishna in every human being. Not just human being. We see God, Rama, Krishna, Brahman, name the God you want. We see the Supreme Lord seated in the heart of every animal, every tree, every stone. Therefore, actually, truly speaking, Vedas and Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita do not encourage meat eating. So if you are a Hindu, you should not eat meat at all, because that is dumb. You are killing another Jivatma. You are eating that fellow's flesh in order to enhance your flesh. That is the meanest thing. And by the way, meat is nothing but solidified menses blood. That's what Manu says, which is true. The menstrual blood of a woman which gets solidified and be born as a fetus, that is what flesh is all about. So if you are eating meat, mutton, chicken, you are actually eating frozen or solidified menstrual blood, which is, I think, a disgusting thing to do. So please stop eating meat. Yes, meat is tasty. Manu agrees that also. And he says that it's very difficult to get over it. Kick off the habit of meat eating. It's very difficult. But please do that, because that is the ultimate patakam. And you will have to pay. Mam saha means, the etymology of the word is, I, whose flesh this fellow is eating, will eat his flesh in the next birth. That is the meaning of the word mam saha. I will become him and I will eat him. So the very word has this meaning. But many Hindus are eating. Even now on Sunday they go to a Muslim shop and eat this meat made by halal method, which is the most sinful method of killing animals, because it is excruciatingly painful. The animal's neck is slit and it has to suffer for nearly half an hour. And then the Hindu method is jhatka method. At a single stroke, the head and body are severed. But unfortunately, even that is wrong, because the Vedas doesn't support. Nevertheless, this method is at least less painful. You are torturing the animal less. At least that is slightly better, but that is of the lesser evil actually. So now, my dear friends, discrimination will always exist. The human nature is such that we will discriminate based on knowledge, qualification. If you are MA and the other fellow is BA, you will feel superior. If you are a 1 year senior in college, you tend to think, I am a senior, that fellow is my junior. Hare Baba. There is no seniority or juniority for the Atma. Atmas are all eternal. That is what Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita. Pragrutim Purusham Chaiva Vidyanadi Ubhavapi. So the Veda says that there are three eternal things, eternal verities: Paramatma, Jivatma, Prakriti. So all Atmas are co-eval. That means of the same age, or in fact we are all eternal. We don't have any birth. Vastu tastu na jatosi na mrutosi Shuddha Vijnana Swarupastham Dirgha Swapnamidam Jagat Najayate Mriyate va Kadachin Nayam Bhutva Bhavitavana Bhuyah Ajo Nitya Shashvato Yam Purano Nahanyate Hanyamane Sharire. In the Bhagavad Gita, that's what Krishna said. And the first one I said, Vastutastu na jatosi na mrutosi. That was Saraswati Devi in Yoga Vasishtam saying that, Are Baba, in truth you are never born. Because what is born is the body, and body is fugitive, transient. It is not permanent. The Atma is eternal. It is never born. So we are all never born. We are eternal companions of Sri Krishna. So this is what Hinduism teaches. So where is the discrimination? But once we take birth, then all kinds of vasanas start. Ashubha vasanas. So Deha vasana, Loka vasana, Shastra vasana, and this feeling of superiority. We feel superior simply because we are 1 year older, or 1 month older, or we have done MA, that fellow with BA, or we are in a superior caste, superior kulam. This false sense of superiority. If you are 1 year senior, you start feeling superior. If you have little more money, again start feeling superior. And if you are a male, you think you are superior to the female. And if you are a, dogs, you see big dog is there, it will think I am superior to the small dog. So, this is natural. But, see, nature does not produce carbon copies. We are all unequal. But, we are at the same time equal in the sense that we are all eternal Jivatmas. So, never discriminate. Each one has a role to play. Unconditional positive regard. Respect everyone. This is the truth of Hinduism. So who exactly is a Brahmin? You could be born in a Brahmin family, and if you have been brought up like a true Brahmin, that means if you live up to the ideals of Bhagavad Gita, which means you never cheat anybody, then you are a true Brahmin. Otherwise, you could be born in a Brahmin family, but you might be the worst felon, criminal, rascal. And if you are a cheat, like Ravan for example, Ravana was a Brahmin, but he was a womanizer, he was a cheat, he was a rascal, he was a criminal. He broke every law, and therefore he had to be punished. So, cheating a cheat is perfectly justified. If there is a Brahmin who is a rascal, who is a rogue, and you can, if you possible, and he will cheat, so perfectly justified in cheating the rogue. Looting from the looter is not looting at all. Okay, killing the terrorist is ahimsa. Bhakta Tukaram. Tukaram said, one of the best definitions of ahimsa is killing the terrorist, killing the atataina, killing the terrorist is ahimsa. What a wonderful definition. So, janmana jayate shudra, samskarat vijay uchyate, veda pathed bhaved vipraha, brahmajnane tu brahmanaha. That means by birth we are all shudras. Only by samskaras you can become dvija, twice born. And Veda Patha, one who does Veda Patha, then he is called a Vipra, a wise man or Brahmin. And actually Brahmin means one who has got Brahma Jnanam. Brahma Jnanam, which is found in Bhagavad Gita. If you understand the whole of the Bhagavad Gita, then it is called Brahma Jnanam. So, my dear friends, there are many interesting concepts that we discussed. You could be born in a Brahmin family and you could be a Brahmin. That means your guna karmas are also same, then you are a real Brahmin. Otherwise, you could be born in a Brahmin family, but your gunas could be that of a Shudra, and your karmas could be that of a Shudra. So, actually, you become a Shudra. You will fall. Now, fall means you are actually occupying another category. Now, because we have got used to these words which indicate some kind of a superiority. So, these words are a little risky. We should stop using. You will fall from. Well, nobody falls from anywhere. We just change categories. So, the greatest rishis were Shudras. Satyakama, Jabala, Kavala, Kavasha, Ilusha, Valmiki, Vyasa, all of them were Shudras. Our Bhakta Tukaram was a Shudra. Namdev was a Shudra. Chokamela was a Shudra. Hare Baba, if you look at all the sants in the galaxy of Hindu saints, you will find most of them were Shudras. And we touch their feet. So where is the question of discrimination? So a Shudra can rise to the level of a Brahmin can fall to the level of a Shudra. So again I said rise and fall. Instead of rise and fall, I must say actually the categories get exchanged. So this is what Hinduism teaches you. But here Krishna is saying very specifically, especially if there is a Brahmin who is truly a Brahmin according to Gunakarma Vibhagashaha, then if you are looting or cheating that fellow, be very careful, because you will then be born as an insect eating human shit for 60,000 years. So please don't cheat Brahmins. In any society there are Brahmins. Brahmins, again I told you, are people who are noble in character and whose gunas are noble, who will teach and preach, and who will not be influenced by Arishad Vargas, Kama, Krodha, Moha, Lobha, Mada, Matsarya, and their karma will also be either teaching, preaching, doing puja, yajna, advising, counseling, and with all noble qualities. Such a person only is a Brahmin. And within the Brahmin community also, I will tell you, less than 0.01% perhaps belong to this kind of this kind of group who have these kind of traits. So these Brahmins, there are many people who are born Brahmins and take pride. These fellows are fools. Okay, I myself am a Brahmin. I can proudly claim, yes, I have never cheated anybody. I have not caused any harm to anybody, and I can bang the desk and tell you I am proud to be a true Brahmin. But I will tell you, in my own family, extended family, 99.9% are fake Brahmins, but they have this pride that they are Brahmins, right? Many of my Shudra friends who belong to the Shudra caste, they are not Banyas, they are the other castes, they are so wonderful, they are greater than any Brahmin I know, innumerable friends like that. So my dear friends, don't get carried away by the stupid, distorted interpretation of the Christian apologist, the Islamic apologist, or the communist apologist. Right? Apologist means a person who writes or speaks in defense of a controversial subject. So these people have deliberately thrown so much mud on Hinduism, distorted Vedas and Bhagavad Gita. These rascals, these Western Indologists, and these communist intellectuals, pseudo intellectuals, who don't know Vedic Sanskrit or Bhagavad Gita, they don't understand Sanskrit, but they have translated. And unfortunately, our textbooks are filled with this trash. And as a result, we Hindus, many Hindus still feel that we have to be secular. And as if secular means, secularism actually is a word which means the country, the government should have no interference in religion. Religion and government should be kept separate. But in India, secularism means supporting Islam and Christianity and denigrating Hinduism. This is what we have been told. And all abuse and criticism is heaped on Hinduism, as if Hindu scriptures are full. Even Krishna is attacked, Rama is attacked, Vedas are attacked, and they have filled the average Hindu youth and the Hindu mind with so much inferiority complex that foolishly many Hindus say that we want to be secular. We are secular. Ask any Muslim or Christian, does he accept other gods? No. In fact, their holy book says the other fellows have to be either proselytized or killed. That is there in their holy book. I have no hesitation in saying it. Whereas we are truly secular. In fact, Hinduism is the only religion which teaches universal acceptance and tolerance. In fact, it teaches respect, right? Universal respect, unconditional positive respect. So, if you are a Hindu by nature, you are secular. Now, this artificial secularism has created a real problem in our society, right? As a fearless Hindu, I am open. I will openly tell people, listen, read your holy book, Baba. If you are a mature, educated, critical thinker, how can you continue subscribing to this religion which is teaching you bigotry, lechery, butchery, treachery and absurdities, and that is why you are trying very hard to defend all this. If you want to be a true human being, study Bhagavad Gita and become a Hindu. The whole of humanity will someday become a Hindu. Because when education truly begins to work on their minds, then they will not accept any holy book which is full of bigotry, absurdity, lechery, butchery, treacheries. No, the world will one day become fully Hindu. Now let us come back to this shloka. Swadattam paradattam va brahmavrittim harechayah pashtivarsha విష్ఠాయాం జాయతే కృమి బ్రాహ్మడి ఆస్తి కొట్టేస్తే పియ్య తినే పురుగులాగా 60,000 జన్మలు పియ్య తినవలసిన పురుగులా పుట్టాల్సి వస్తుంది బ్రాహ్మడి ఆస్తి కొట్టేకు. రైట్? ఇక్కడ బ్రాహ్మడు అంటే నేను ఇంతవరకు చెప్పింది ఏంటి? వేరే కులంలో పుట్టిన బ్రాహ్మణ గుణకర్మాలు ఉన్నాయనుకో, మంచి ప్రొఫెసర్ వాడు, మంచి వ్యక్తిత్వం ఉన్నవాడు, మంచి క్యారెక్టర్ ఉన్నవాడు, శీలం ఉన్నవాడు, వాడు నిజమైన బ్రాహ్మడు. వాడు బ్రాహ్మణ కులంలో పుట్టకపోవచ్చు, వాడు ఏదన్నా కులంలో మాదిగ, మాదిగ ఏదన్నా కులము, వీళ్ళు దళితులు అనుకుంటున్నారు. దళిత ఏంటండి? దళిత అన్న వర్డే లేదు వేదంలో, ఎక్కడా లేదు. సో ఏ కులంలో పుట్టినా, ఇప్పుడు రాయిదాస్ ఉన్నాడు, మీరా యొక్క గురువు, ఆయన నేను అనుకోవడం ఆయన మాదిగ కులం అనుకుంటా. ఎస్. మరి అంబేద్కర్ నిజంగా నా దృష్టిలో ఋషి. సో అలాగా నిజమైన జ్ఞానవంతులు, ఇన్స్పైర్ చేయగలిగిన వాళ్ళు ఏ కులంలో పుట్టినా, ఆ కులంలో పుట్టినా బ్రాహ్మణ గుణకర్మాలు ఉన్నాయనుకోండి, వాడు నిజమైన బ్రాహ్మడు. అటువంటి వాడి ఆస్తి కొట్టేసేవంటే 60,000 జన్మలు పియ్య తినవలసిన జన్మలు వస్తాయి. పురుగులా పుట్టి పియ్య తినాల్సి వస్తుంది. ఆ దయ్యా. జై శ్రీరామ్.